Subtle results, still you, but with fewer lines. Botox Cosmetic, out of botulinum toxin A, is a prescription medicine used to temporarily make moderate to severe frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better in adults.
Effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox Cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow and eyelid drooping, and eyelid swelling. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Tell your doctor about medical history, muscle or nerve conditions including ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. For full safety information, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
See for yourself at BotoxCosmetic.com.
On this episode of Bantha Milk Podcast, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Is that the thing?
Intro music.
Feels no good to be dead.
Bounty hunting is a complicated profession.
We're gonna take that again.
If you want to.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine with it the way it is. It's
I
funny.
fixed it. So
Yeah, I mean, we got a good let's call it like 5/6 of the intro in full stereo.
in full stereo. Yeah.
The 1/6,
Yeah,
this again, when years from now when they're cataloging all of our many recordings, this will be that one like, oh, do you remember the one with the imperfection?
The imperfection.
In the first 1/6 of that one. I have an original copy of that. It's actually pressed in vinyl.
It's pressed in vinyl. It's on a red and black vinyl now.
That's right.
It's
That's
really
what
cool.
that's what all of our fans and
Yes.
collectors in the year 2029 will say.
There you go.
That's my guess.
When they're
2029.
listening to our podcast, Bantha Milk Podcast.
Oh, that's what we are. That's right. Bantha
Here
Milk
we are.
Podcast. Yeah, that's us. How you doing, Rob?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
In the cough. We need a cough button.
We do need that. I
Yeah.
feel like we will really have made it as podcasters
if we
when
have a
can
cough button.
Drop the dough on a pod. Is that like something you can buy, like and just like hook, or is there a button? Like, there's gotta be an
I
app
don't
for
have
that.
a button on here, but I'm sure there's got to be in between the wires, like the one wire coming out of the mic will go into a cough button, and then that would go into the board over here
and
somewhere.
then you could just have it like
Yep,
that.
and you can have your own cough button, so you can push it anytime you need
I
to.
bet that would be something that's like easy enough for simple programming just to make.
I think so. Bill,
Bill,
on that.
yeah, Bill's gonna have to get on that.
Bill, get on
Anyway,
that.
we are here once again because Ahsoka has come once again.
It sure has.
And we are here to talk about episode 6, a long time ago, far, far away.
Far,
right?
far away.
Far, far away. Which sounds like a Spider-Man movie name. But it is not.
Spider-Man
Far,
enters
far away. Yeah,
the
right?
Star Wars universe.
Imagine like this is the moment they've built up to for all these years, where they join these two franchises.
Yes.
We have multiverses. We have world between
well,
worlds.
we are in a different galaxy.
We're in a different galaxy.
We could be in a galaxy that one of the Spider-Men are in. So there we go. Maybe Spider-Man is the puppet master controlling Thrawn.
That's not the most tinfoil theory to come out of this episode.
No.
I think there. As crazy as that is, I think there's going to be weirder things that come out of this episode.
Probably.
But yeah. Do we have news? We should
so-
talk about the things, right? You have a drink. You should pop that.
I have
open.
a drink. Let's pop this open.
Or Dirt Wolf.
I found my last bottle of Dirt Wolf.
Yeah, he literally like had to move the like orange juice and stuff out of the way.
Yeah.
And he found it like in the back corner. It was like the all the things in front parted and it glowed.
And
there
it
was
glowed. Yeah, there was an orange glow around it.
angels saying.
Yeah. And it lifted it up towards me and it brought it right into my hand. So let's see if
Oh.
nice little bottle.
Yeah, let's see the head on that bad boy. He gave it a good old
Double
sniff.
IPA. Let's pour it all the way up here where you can see it on the tube.
This is riveting stuff for
It
our
is
listeners.
riveting. I'm doing a nice
So just I
slow pour.
want to describe to y'all what is happening in case you're not watching our YouTube, right? So Rob is
there we
currently
go.
pouring this beer and he still doesn't have a beard. So I just described to you what is happening.
Look at that. A nice, perfect
amount of head on there, right?
Beer head on there.
I feel like that amount of fur on your face would
Yep.
really top this off.
That's good. There's a little
Yeah,
bit
you're
there.
growing it
It's
in.
growing it back again.
But doesn't it feel weird for you when you like drink a beer and it's not getting in your mustache hairs?
I'm not savoring
yeah,
some
it's not
for
like
later.
sopped up and
That's
that's not one of my favorite things
So
about having a
Victory
mustache.
beer from Philadelphia.
Oh, and look at
Dirt
that.
Wolf Double IPA.
It's a Bantha Milk podcast
in my Bantha Milk
mug.
podcast mug. You got
That's
it,
us.
dude. That is us.
We're those people. So I'm gonna cheers you with my Red Bull. I've got a
Cheers.
sugar-free Red Bull because I'm a teacher and a dad and a human being, and I'm tired.
And you're tired.
I was having a discussion with someone the other day because I said something about being tired. I was at a marching band competition, and they said something along the line. They were talking about being tired, and they said, "Oh, but obviously that's like, nothing compared to you." And I'm like, "You don't have to say that." I was like, I was childless for a long time, and that I can tell you, you get very tired for many things.
Yes.
I am very tired now. But I was also very tired before I had a kid. Like this is like you don't have to qualify,
right?
Like, for in me, like there are people out there that as soon as you tell them you're tired, they're like, "Oh, well, let me tell you, you think you're tired."
Yeah.
Let people be tired. I bet there are loads of people out there who I'm really tired.
I'm very tired.
You could be tireder than I am. I'm pretty freaking tired. I almost dropped the F-bomb just there.
You
That's how
did.
tired
You
I am.
almost had to beep.
I pivoted out of it. I'm pretty tired. So all this to say, I'm drinking a sugar-free Red Bull
to try and keep them from falling asleep during the podcast.
Yeah, and then so it would have been nice on the way home because I wanted to ride Red 5 in tonight. It didn't start up.
Oh, still no?
Something's wrong with Red because
because you had it on the trickle charger.
I had it on the tender for like a day.
Okay.
So and you looked at the tender, it said it's full. And I unplugged it. I went to start it. And it was like, and then it just started clicking anytime.
Yeah,
so
that's not good.
Yeah. So I mean, I knew it needed a tune-up, but I was telling someone
Did you unplug the spark plug wire?
I did not. I should check under the hood though. Under the
hood of a motorcycle.
But I was telling someone the other day that they asked, "Is it the original battery?" And I said, "I assume so because
You didn't change it?
it had 1,600 miles on it when I got it, and now it has about 20,000 miles on it. I didn't change the battery. My guess is it's the original battery.
Yeah.
So
probably they could either need the new battery or, spark plugs. There's not many things in the motorcycle engine.
Right.
Carburetor needs to be cleaned out maybe. I don't know, whatever. Who knows?
Well, you know more than I do. I can already tell you because you said some fancy words right there that blew me away. But either way, send any.
Did you check your blinker fluid? Blinker fluid liquid. Yes, blinker. Wait, what?
Blinker fluid liquid.
Yes, your taillight fluid. Did you check that?
Of course I did.
Okay.
Well, I'm not a rookie.
Right. Yeah, because you got to check that. Make sure that that's good also.
Yeah. And you got to make sure you have your bumper wipers.
Right. And you have the new air in your tires, not the old air.
Old air is bad.
Old air is
smells
bad.
bad.
You need
it's like farts.
You need the better air in the tires. You need the Air Plus.
On this episode of Bantha Milk Podcast,
we diagnose all the fake things that mechanics tell you is wrong with your car.
Hey, man. You're not going to get me with no banana in the tailpipe. Only our older viewers will understand that.
That's right. So I did see some other news, but I'm skipping around for now. Star Wars news. The only one thing that I do want to say is these are all the news articles from last week.
It's a weird thing to say.
It is a weird thing to say. But we missed one.
Uh-oh.
The good old convict that was running around Pennsylvania.
I put my journalistic integrity on the line for this.
You did.
And we missed something.
About
Danilo Cavalcante, nonetheless?
Yes.
All right.
You saw who he was captured by, right?
A dog?
Yes.
Oh, that's right. And it was named, was it Yoda?
Yoda, yes.
That's right. Yeah. So for anyone not currently living in the greater Philadelphia area,
it kind of made...
it made some more national news, but
news.
It was all over the place. Like I watch NBC 10, and so it's all I saw. And so we had this guy who basically
Spider-Man
shimmied up a wall, which I've never been to a prison, but seems like a design flaw.
A little bit
up onto the ceiling and burst through some razor wire and made it like 30 miles away before they caught him in like 2 weeks. So yeah, and somehow I guess they mainly caught him because it was rainy, and so he was taking shelter among a bunch of like lumber. And then like they saw his heat signature, and they like got all set up and ready to go.
Yeah, they had like heat signature drones
Yep.
flying all over the place.
Yep.
That's
So-
what I want to be.
Right,
the
it
guy.
sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And then like he I guess just when it was about to go down, he realized what was happening. So he like tried to get away by like crawling through brush and stuff, and they unleashed Yoda on him.
Yoda.
And Yoda saved the day.
Yoda used his Jedi powers and took him down.
By that we mean his teeth.
That's right. That's what they are.
Yeah, and he did. He like you saw pictures of him. He was pretty messed up.
He was messed up.
But I think it was just like because it was a head thing. Any
Right.
head thing, I feel like.
Yeah,
always
you
bleeds a
bleed
lot.
extra.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody who watches WWE wrestling knows.
It's true because they got the little.
They put a little cut in there, and
Yeah.
it's like blood all
Oh
over
my
the place.
gosh!
Yeah.
You hit me with a chair.
Well, they
All-
really hit him with a chair.
Yeah, they
It
do. No,
hurts a lot.
100% they do. Not much way you can fake that. Anyway,
Anyway,
so
so
Danilo
that's
Cavalcante
yeah.
brought down by
brought
the
down by
Force,
Baby Yoda,
by the Jedi.
by the Jedi Master Yoda. That's
this is
right.
yet more evidence that Star Wars is real.
Star Wars is
Star Wars and
real.
professional wrestling.
That's
I would
right.
like to watch Star Wars professional wrestling.
That would be fun.
You know, like just a whole bunch of episodes of like celebrity deathmatch, but with Star Wars characters.
I like it. We could design our own and talk about it and plan our own. We wouldn't be able to actually. We could just say
I don't know.
who
You
would win.
think any of the Bantha Milk nation out there is into claymation?
I'm sure somebody is.
Someone, hey, if
Yeah.
you're one of our listeners and you're into claymation, let us know, and we'll make $1 billion on this idea.
$1 billion
Billions.
dollars.
That's right. Rob's distracted. He's looking something up.
I'm just looking at the news and just trying to see if there's anything. Everything is all about
There's not
Ahsoka,
really.
which is what we're going to talk about.
Ahsoka is here. Bob Iger still sucks.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, so whatever. We're gonna go right into
We're gonna go
Ahsoka.
into it.
We'll get right into it. We'll get right into
We're gonna
that
do it
rundown.
live.
We're gonna do it
We're
live.
gonna get that rundown for
Give me
you.
that rundown.
Just faxing this rundown
Just
to
faxing
my
this
dad.
rundown to my dad.
And once I'm done faxing this rundown and we're back from this commercial break, we'll get right into the show.
This show.
Product.
Oh, what was it that? Oh, I was listening. When I listened to our last week's episode, it was a gambling site.
And what do we say right after on that one?
And we were like, buy that product.
Yes. You might want to gamble. First, develop a gambling problem. Right. Let's not
call
skip steps
1-800
here.
Gamblers.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Okay.
All right. So we're back. We're gonna talk Ahsoka, episode 6.
Episode 6.
Far
Far
away. And I said earlier that I think some tinfoil hat theories are gonna come from this. What do you think? So like, I haven't done any research on this. I just watched it today. I haven't watched any videos. But as I'm watching it, I'm thinking, okay, so Hu Yang just said a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. So now they're going to try and say that it's canon that any time it's a Star War that begins with that crawl, it's Hu Yang telling the story.
Oh, that's a good theory that they're all Hu Yang stories.
Yeah, because I mean, he's starting this one with that exact. So like, who's to say that like
right. So what was
all
the
of these
old?
are not just retellings?
What was originally somebody said that it was a story told through the droid's eyes. It was supposed to be through C-3PO and R2-D2's eyes.
I had heard that. I don't know if that was like canon or not, but I had heard that same thing because like, you know, C-3PO is this big storyteller and stuff.
Yeah.
So
now it's through Hu Yang's eyes.
I mean, that's again. I don't know that is true, but as I watched it, I went, that is silly, but the pieces are there.
Yeah.
And it's not ridiculous enough to be stupid, but it is silly.
I like it. I like it a lot. I think we should definitely push this theory a lot because it's kind of like the Pixar's, how it's all one giant universe because you can find all these different things. And I believe that worked for maybe the first 6 or 7 movies, but I don't think there's anybody from Soul or I don't know if Elements was a Pixar or if it was just a Disney. But I don't think there's any Elements people in the original Toy Story movie anymore.
So what you're saying is we should be the original Hu Yang truthers?
Yes.
So we're gonna claim that monocle for ourselves. Hu Yang is the narrator of Star Wars.
Of Star Wars.
He's basically our Samwise Gamgee.
He is.
Right. He's finishing his memoir, There and Back Again, A Droid's Tale by Hu Yang.
Because he even said, when he was talking to her about it, he said, what was it? Tales, part 1, part 2, and part 3.
Yeah.
And then she said, "Which one is the best one?" Or somebody said,
Part 1 is the best one.
One is the best one.
That was Ahsoka said that.
Yeah, which is could be a reference to episodes 4, 5, and 6 being part 1.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that.
And then,
that's pretty clever.
Yeah. So if that's the case, that would be great also because
then he's literally reference. Oh, see, I didn't even think about that when I had thought of that. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so you heard it here
first. We're breaking it.
We are the Hu Yang truthers. We're gonna get that tattooed on our forehead.
We will. We'll have to.
We'll assemble a march on Washington.
I was gonna say we'll have to tweet people, but we'll have to X people, who have thousands and thousands and millions more followers than us, so that way they'll announce our.
No, I want the credit for this.
Our X.
Let them tweet us.
There you go. Well, that's not happening. But
Star Wars Explained. I'm looking at you. So, all right. Well, we just confirmed that Hu Yang is a great storyteller.
Is a great storyteller.
So we start the episode. I was surprised by this episode. First of all, I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
I think the pacing was great. Right. I know we've had problems with pacing. Every now and then, towards the end, we'd have like some drawn out scenes, like with her and her gerbil horse dog bat.
Right.
But it was charming and fun. Like I didn't mind that as much as some of the other stuff. But the first 25, 30 minutes of the episode, there's like just constant stuff happening. Where here's Thrawn, here's this, here's that, he's doing this. So I was a big fan. We started. I was surprised to start with the whales. We started with the whales.
Yeah,
right?
we started with the whales and Ahsoka
and then once we started with the whales, I was surprised when we never went back to them.
Yes. Ahsoka was only in the first 5 minutes of the TV show called Ahsoka.
Yeah.
And then we don't see Ahsoka anymore in
Well,
Ahsoka.
to be fair, there are whole episodes of Book of Boba Fett where we don't see Boba Fett. So she still got him beat for that.
Yes, which is fine. So they're in the ship in the whale's mouth, which was fun because, as Luke pointed out to me last week, the lights that as the whales were going through hyperspace, lights are different.
The star lights,
yeah, were different than when the ships are going through it. And you could still see through the whale's mouth the lights, so that you knew that they're still traveling through hyperspace. And they're just passing time.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Tell me,
smoke if you got them."
Yeah, she's like, "Tell me more stories." And he's like, "No, you tell me a story." Yeah.
And that was interesting. Like, tell me a story. I was like, all right, so what are you looking for? Like, what kind of story do you think Hu Yang was trying to get?
I think he was going out of her.
Yeah.
I think he wanted to know because she said at one point in time about how she tortured Morgan. So maybe he wants to find out more about when they were separated.
Okay.
So he wants to find out more about what Ahsoka's doing since.
I was thinking maybe it had to do with Anakin because, like, does Hu Yang know that Anakin and Darth Vader are the same person? We don't know that. Most people don't know that.
And especially, well, I guess at this point in time, this is after Darth Vader, so.
Right. So maybe he's trying to dig up more info on her exile, what she was doing. I don't know. Could be one of many things, or else maybe it was just a throwaway line. Like
it could be. Maybe he's got a couple of terabyte hard drive that he needs to fill with stories.
Listen, the dude has been around for like 6,000 years or something.
No, 25.
Like 25,000?
Yeah, or 250 or 25,000.
It's a long time.
It's a long time. He's older than And that made me think because like vampire stories also where vampires live forever unless they get, the steak or garlic or whatever.
Which is a shame because garlic and steak go hand in hand.
They do. They're very good together.
I'm hungry anyway.
But like they outlive all their friends and then next generation of friends and then next generation of friends. And I think it helps. Vampires probably don't seem like the most sociable lot. Yeah, that's
they don't make many friends. And the ones they do, generally, they're eating.
Yeah, it depends. Which version of vampires you watch. Like the Sookie Stackhouse stories that were on.
Ahsoka. True Blood.
Yeah, on True Blood, like they actually they had some personality to them where they weren't just
Bill Compton.
Yeah, Bill Compton.
I
read the books.
Yeah, Pagan read the books.
Yeah, I read the books. I watched it all.
I stopped watching it got goofy for me eventually.
Yeah, and it drifted
from
horribly
the books.
away
That's
from the
what Pagan
books.
had mentioned. As soon as like that dude became the bull and he like ripped the lady's heart out, that was like the end of when I was like really.
You were like, okay, I'm done. Yeah. But anyway, so like those, they were a little bit more. They had more personalities rather than just blood sucking, creatures of the night.
Sure.
So you're like, oh, but it would be neat to see like he was turned during the Civil War. So to see all these advancements in his lifetime, because he's alive forever, I guess, whatever. So I would think.
You think Hu Yang got upgrades in his however 1,000?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure that's not what he looked like 25,000 years ago.
You know what his? I think we probably talked about his design is based off of.
No.
So Hu Yang's design is based off of the original Ralph McQuarrie artwork for C-3PO.
Oh,
so
very cool.
If you look at the original concept art, it's essentially Hu Yang.
Okay.
For 3PO, and so they reused that design for Hu Yang.
Date created 25,020 BBY. So he's 25,000 years old.
It's a lot of years, man.
It is a lot of years. Yeah, so I'm sure he just wanted to find out what happened to her when he wasn't hanging out with her, because we see the two of them together in the beginning of the series, but he wasn't there when we saw her in Mandalorian, and he wasn't with her in Rebels or even Clone Wars. Clone Wars, he was still training the younglings on how to build lightsabers and stuff. So, yeah, whatever. So anyway, that's what I think he was hinting at, was that he wanted to find out more about her.
They're telling stories to each other. They're chit-chatting. They're talking about Sabine going over willingly, and
and he was like, no, she wouldn't do that.
Yeah, they have a really weird, those two go back and forth on Sabine an awful lot.
I do like his eyes are very animated.
Yes, they have like squinty versions, and they have like eyebrow kind of raises and stuff. Yeah, I really like it.
For the fact that none of the droids have articulating mouths, so that when they're talking to you, it looks like they're talking.
Right.
His eyes moving around
adds a lot.
Does add a lot. Yeah.
Humanization and character.
So then basically we get
that's it.
Then we get nowhere with it. She just says, she went willingly, and he said, I don't know if she really did that. We'll have to find out when we see her. And then that's the end of the scene. That's pretty much it.
Scene. Yeah, we'll see in episode 7.
Yeah, and then we get to the planet because
we're transported onto the ship, and because I guess they got to show you coming out of hyperspace and stuff.
Right.
And so
now we're on the giant ring of
and we're, first of all, it's really rad that they like reveal, hey, these rings, we're at the end of a migratory route.
Yes,
these rings are not rings, they're carcasses that gravity has kept here because this is the end of the route.
Yeah, they come here to die, kind of like salmon swimming upstream again.
So you wonder how many, like, they're in a big guy. They're in one of the big ones. This is one of the old ones. Maybe this guy's coming to kick the bucket.
Yeah, this one's probably last hurrah, last run.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what's her name? Morgan Elsbeth?
Elsbeth, yeah.
She's flying the ring ship, and they're like, "Oh, time, we're coming out of hyperspace," and it was pretty cool graphics. I did like the like lightning behind it as it came out.
Yeah, it's the same sort of effect that they left behind when they went into hyperspace.
Yeah.
In the previous episode, it makes sense. Like, it's they can't make it just like another hyperdrive, right? Because it's like it has to be mega.
It's got to be clearly different than the rest.
So yeah, I like the way they've been doing that. The sound inside the ship is really ominous and creaky, and like, hey, maybe this wasn't a very good idea. But they land, and we get to actually see some real Night Sisters.
Yes, which was awesome.
Yeah, it's making me really want to play Fallen Order or Jedi Survivor, because I'm sure there's so much stuff, like, I'm sure there's Night Sister stuff going on.
Yes, there definitely is, because in one of the videos I was watching, they were talking about the Night Sisters in it. The Night Sisters were also in Star Wars Galaxies, and they looked a lot similar to the Star Wars Galaxies, and they were in Clone Wars. There was a couple of episodes with them in Clone Wars as well.
Quite a few, actually.
Quite a few. And
because Asajj Ventress was a Night Sister.
Right.
And then Maul was of that same
mother and sister,
same
whatever it
with,
was.
Savage Press.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. It's cool to see them in live action.
Yeah.
We haven't seen that. And we even get to see some of their cool, like, magic force in action as well.
And they made them very similar.
Yeah, they looked good. It wasn't like a situation with like the Grand Inquisitor where you're like,
Yeah, like
that passed like your costume effects supervisor. Like they looked at that and gave the okay.
Yeah, you're
No,
like,
it looked
come
really
on.
good.
Yeah, they looked really good, and I was like, oh, they look just like in the games or even in Clone Wars or whatever.
And it's a silly, and by silly I mean like witches, like in the traditional sense, is outlandish for Star Wars, because people try and think of it as like a science fiction. It's not really science fiction. It's a fantasy,
Right.
with a science light backdrop.
Yeah.
And so now we're injecting more of the fantasy in it,
Mm-hmm.
and we're so used to like the fantasy being, oh, it's science, but it's not really. Like if you really look into the science of Star Wars, they don't even try to get it right,
Yeah.
and that's fine. I don't care.
Right.
Right. So it's just interesting to see how that's being handled. I lost my train of thought. Red Bull's not
That they
going.
were witches.
Yes.
And,
So the witches, I think, because we're so used to a science backdrop explaining everything for us,
yeah.
there's the potential for people who don't really know this stuff to see the witches and go, oh, this is silly. Witches. Why are there witches in Star Wars?
Right, but they're Force witches.
Yeah.
So
and that's the whole thing that I think people don't really like. Did you forget the whole thing here is space wizards?
right, they're
like-
space wizards.
Like
yeah.
they're literally using magic.
Mhm.
They don't call it magic, except today they finally in live action called it what it is, and it's magic.
It's magic. Yeah.
So like it's really not that far of a leap to think, hey, these dudes, they use the Force a different way.
Right.
But they're like, no, they're using the Force. They got lightning shoot out of their hands. I get that. These ladies over here, they're
they're
spooky,
witches.
and that's
Yeah,
weird, and
That's
I don't
weird.
get it.
Yeah. But yeah, so there's many different ways to use the Force, and these Night Sisters just use it in a spookier way than Luke Skywalker, who just has a magic blade sword that happens to be glowing energy instead.
Which please,
Yes.
which please.
Did you see? I saw a video of somebody who had a real life lightsaber,
It was plasma, right? It was
Yeah.
like a ray of plasma, and like.
and he cut through a box, and it's just like,
Yeah, but in real life,
Yeah.
it's essentially as real life as we can get, and it's not really a lightsaber, right? Like,
no.
like,
It had like
Yeah.
a giant battery pack attached, like the box on the ground
Yeah.
and stuff, and it was just like basically just a fire stick of
Yeah.
plasma. But it was really cool.
yeah, he could
Um,
adjust the length and stuff.
yeah.
I did see that.
Yeah. So yeah, why not? But the three witches, this witches in 3 goes all the way back to Greek mythology, and also Disney. What was the Sanderson sisters?
Oh yeah, Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus.
Even like Shakespeare with
Shakespeare, yeah.
what is it?
Toil and
Macbeth?
Trouble.
Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah. We also see what's her name's in jail. Sabine's in prison.
Right,
And she's
and they
like,
have
get
that
me out.
really rad like balls that shoot ropes of laser.
The Night Sisters have the
that,
laser
like,
string.
also act as an escort,
Yeah, and move her, and then
Yeah.
they push her down onto the ground. So
and
that
then
was
they
pretty
just
fun.
fly back to Master. I guess.
And then go back to Master. The balls are their big thing. You
Yeah.
know? They got the ball, which is the map, the balls, which are the prison stuff. So big fan of
They
balls.
probably they've got like little like pockets that are like conducive to round objects,
Yeah.
and they haven't thought to maybe flatten things out.
No, like flat Earth.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, that's real.
That's real.
Don't get me started.
Yes.
Um,
Flat Death Star.
So flat Death Star. Yeah.
After they're meeting with them, then they take the gold shuttle down onto the
Oh
planet.
yeah, and these dudes have some interesting freaking armor.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's more to it, and I was racking my brain like, is there anything in the Thrawn novels that like I was trying to remember that might have to do with this? I don't think it is.
No, I don't remember. But they're very like samurai-ish armor. Yeah.
Yep, for sure. And it was really cool. Like when we saw like the lead up to seeing Thrawn, like, and how many years have there? Is it like 10, 15 years?
Right,
something
that
like
we've been missing him.
And it's clear that like this whole crew has been there the whole time. He made that clear, and like they're so fervently loyal to him. Like you don't ever see stormtroopers chanting someone's name.
No. And like even in the books, everybody was so loyal to him because he would do everything he could to not kill any of his own people, to beat the bad guys without causing any damage to his own people.
Yep.
Where other Empire leaders were just like, send 50 people out. If 40 of them don't come back, whatever.
Right.
You know. So they're hardcore.
What do you think of Thrawn's performance?
Okay, this is the only thing I didn't like.
Go on.
I liked his performance. He was very much similar to his performance in the cartoons.
Mm-hmm. And it is voiced by the same person.
It's voiced by the same guy. His mannerisms were the same. His, slow speech, his intentional, everything he said was very intentional, was all the same as in the cartoons.
Right.
I was talking to one of the other coaches, and we were joking. I was like, I didn't like Fat Thrawn.
I was just going to say, it's not Dad Bod Thrawn, is it?
Yeah, I said it's just like Dad Bod Boba Fett.
It is a little jarring to see, not straight down, he would have continued to stay in shape. I
yes.
think. It is very clear.
It's very clear. He's very...
He's a physical dude.
Yeah, he's a very regimented person.
It is funny that, you think Lars Mikkelsen just didn't want to get in shape?
And I'm like, come on. And then I said to her, I was like, they could de-age
Anakin. They didn't have in the budget to defat.
They couldn't defat Thrawn? Come on.
So, yeah, I'll confess, it sounds like body shaming, but I thought the same.
Yeah.
Especially because these people are paid so much, you could, get in shape.
And, he knew about it months before started filming.
Yeah. And I guess, maybe, again, I think it doesn't make sense, but maybe they're going for, because they very clearly changed him a little bit to make him older. They aged him.
Yeah, his hairline was back a little further.
And his hair is a little less bright blue and more dustier. And they didn't try and give him sharp features. They tried to keep him older looking, which is fine.
Yeah.
Because, he's aged.
He's aged.
But I don't think he would have expanded.
No.
I agree.
I was a little disappointed. He almost, to me, I'm watching him, and the way, his mannerisms were, which was very Thrawn mannerisms, but he was very you're going to do it my way. This is the thing. It reminded me, to me, I said to two different people, he looked like blue Donald Trump. Just because he was so
that body type, you're kind of right.
Yeah, I'm the jacket didn't quite fit right. It was a little baggy in the middle, and I'm I couldn't get past that. So now anybody, hey, comment down below if you think that he looks like a blue Donald Trump or not, or if I'm just out of my mind in assuming that. But I did not. And yes, I mean, look, I put 20 pounds on since last fall, but
we're
I
not
also
on Biggest Loser yet.
Right, it's not Biggest Loser time, but I'm also not portraying a character that I did in the cartoons that was super thin.
Yeah,
and I don't know. I mean,
I feel like if Hera and it's a double standard.
Yeah,
maybe, but if Hera came back with a dad bod, there would have been uproar. Right, you know what I mean?
100%. Well, I mean, George Lucas notoriously told Princess Leia before, was it Return of the Empire Strikes Back? Which one was she in the bikini?
Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi. Before that episode, that she needs to drop 20 pounds or something like that. He's like, you're going to be in a bikini. You need to lose 20 pounds.
He also told her in episode 1 that she is not allowed to wear a bra because there are no bras.
Bras in space. Yeah.
He was a class act.
He was a class act, that guy. But anyway, yeah, back in the day, you could tell people that you need. Yeah. So I don't know.
But I'd imagine in Hollywood you still can. Right. I'm sure there are casting directors out there putting out things like, looking for a male actor must be fat. There are fat roles out there. You know what I mean? And the opposite is true. So I don't know, but it did strike me as a surprising move for someone trying to be portrayed as very disciplined. But his portrayal was awesome. He did great. And again, I think his mannerisms were I don't know, the way he approached even just the hunt for Ezra is this dude wants off. He wants to go home. That's priority. But as much as he's not the guy to blow up, and it was clear when he found out that Ahsoka was still alive. Right. He did that classic Thrawn thing where it's I told you shouldn't underestimate her. Yeah. Now let's prepare. This is what we have. Let's do it. So I thought they did a really good job kind of nailing that aspect of Thrawn. Yeah, I was a fan.
I was a fan. I just, whatever. I'm body shaming him. But other than that, I love this actor portrayal of Thrawn.
Yeah, but what also I saw in it was like, as much as they're leaning into that he's the same methodical, he also has been stranded here for 15 years.
Right.
And like, he really wants Ezra dead.
He does.
It's pretty clear. Like this dude,
the fact that Ezra brought him there and has stranded him out there for 15 years.
And somehow for that long they haven't been able to find him.
Yeah, and Sabine
Sabine
found
a
him. Yes, I was gonna say Sabine for everything
and
that Sabine
they broke all of her equipment.
Yeah. They shattered her
binocular
viewfinder thing from Empire Strikes Back.
Yep.
But yeah, like she was able to find him in a day. Thrawn's been there for 15 years, and he has a whole battalion of
Thrawn
troopers with him. Did you see the gold to piece all the helmets and everything back together? That's called King Suji, which is a Japanese practice of repairing broken china with gold.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, and also it reminded me a lot also of in the last 3 movies when Kylo Ren broke his mask and then he patched it together and it was still the same thing. Like you could see the patches.
Yep.
So apparently they don't have like blending stuff in the Star Wars galaxies or more paint to repaint over after you patch it.
They're like chick stick scars.
Scars.
See this?
Yeah.
See this tear in my... It was Beskar. I'm telling you. I'm not messing with you. It sliced clean through Beskar. I'm just lucky to have gotten out alive.
Yeah. You're lucky. You're lucky to still be talking to me.
That's right.
Because,
you should buy me a drink.
Yeah. General Balin Skarsgård, is that what his name was? Balin Skull was amazing in this episode.
Yes.
Like...
And his beard, by the way, speaking of beards, is perfection.
It's perfection.
Yeah, but we got some interesting insight into his past, and I know we had talked a little bit about how he was probably, in the Jedi, whatever, for Order 66, and how that affected him, and clearly it has. I'm still just confused and interested to see what the hell he's looking for.
Yeah.
Because he says something called to him.
Right.
Clearly the Night Sisters called to Elsbeth, but there's something else out here calling.
So, Ryan Airy thinks that there is a giant Jedi monster under the ground somewhere.
A Jedi monster?
A Jedi monster. No, a Force monster. Sorry, Force monster. Similar to the Bindu, but maybe good or bad.
Ooh, wouldn't that be rad if the Bendu made an appearance in live action?
It would be cool. I would love to see the Bindu. I would love to see Zeb. Hello. I want to see Zeb. But yes. So... And that's what he thinks. He thinks that there's some kind of giant force monster.
Our live stream is kaput right now, by the way. Might have to do with the fact that my computer's about to die. Oh, no.
Oh, it's not plugged in?
Where's the plug?
You plugged it in down there. Other side. Both of them on the right side.
I gotta get it.
Oh, no.
Now it's plugged in. Hopefully it continues to function. Anyway, but you're still getting this for the
the audio is still coming through for the
Love
podcast.
That. Our dozens of listeners on YouTube will have to wait for the special cut.
Right.
Anyway,
so he was talking about General Balin Skull. I'll get it yet. Was talking about everything that's like pulling him here. I think he was looking for the world between worlds. Like that's his goal, is to get there, because he wants to change. I think he wants to go back to possibly before Order 66.
Okay.
To fix and all his friends that were killed and prevent that from happening.
That's possible.
But that's why we need Ezra and him together. So Ezra can tell him what happens if he tries to do that, because Ezra tried to do that to go save Kanan.
Right.
And Ahsoka told him it's a bad idea because you're going to change everything.
I could see that. I also could see not that, just because I don't know that he knows. I mean, although they are like also leaning into, hey, there are all these stories the Jedi told us that were fairy tales, and this is one of them.
And every fairy tale is real.
Based on
has
something,
becoming real. Yeah.
So I could see that. I was more thinking like because when they were talking about, oh, we could like basically join with Thrawn and he could lead it, we could remake this, and he tells her, no, you're not a Jedi. We're training you to be more than that.
More than a Jedi, because he didn't like the way the Jedi were trained, so he's training her differently. I still want to figure out who she is in relation to him.
If it had never been in Order 66, he would have never even thought about it. But everything came crashing down around him, and in his reflection, he decided the Jedi were terrible. We need to redo, and I need to make it better.
Right, and he also said, we keep building up and then getting knocked down and then building up and then knocked down. Yeah, he's like, I just want to do this once or whatever.
He did the Daenerys Targaryen thing. I'm going to break the wheel.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I'm interested to see. It's
Trey
sad.
thinks that by the end of the series that he will turn good. He will turn against Thrawn because he sees what Thrawn wants to do. And he doesn't want to be a part of that, but he does because he doesn't want it to start over again.
Right. So do you foresee them having to recast him after season 1? You think he's going to outlive season 1?
I have a feeling he might outlive season 1.
Okay. Which
would be interesting. They could do typical, instead of recasting,
like CGI his face on.
Either CGI his face on or just write in the script somewhere that he died. He died. He's off somewhere or he died or whatever. Yeah. The
more I'm watching and realizing we only have 2 more episodes. I don't see him dying in the next 2 episodes.
No.
I could be wrong,
but also then we need the 3 good guys: Ezra, Sabine, Ahsoka, to fight against Morgan, Thrawn, and General Skarsgård.
Skull.
I keep getting it wrong.
You're getting him mixed up with the actor who plays Thrawn.
Yes, that's what it is. I'm saying his Thrawn's
name.
name. That's what I'm getting confused. I'm like, why is this one?
Now, here's
name?
a real good one. Since I know you read the books, what is Thrawn's full name?
I don't remember.
It's Mithron Urodo.
Yes, it is. You are correct.
Yeah,
you are correct.
Nice. Since we don't have our sound machine.
That's our sound machine. There you go. Yes, yes, you are correct.
There's actually a whole hysterical back and forth between Anakin and Thrawn when they first meet, where he's like, "Just call me Thrawn," because that's your people have a hard time saying my name. And he's like, "No, I'll say your name, Mithron Urodo." And he's like, "No, it's Mithron Urodo." And he's like, "Mithron Urodo." He's like, "No, it's Mithron Urodo." He's like, "Mithron," and it goes on for longer than it should.
And
he's like, "Fine, Thrawn."
Fine, it's Thrawn. Very funny. The golden mask. Did you like the guy with the golden mask? His Enoch. Which is also from the Book of Genesis, who, the same name in the Book of Genesis, he apparently entered heaven without dying.
Ooh.
So that's why he's wearing a golden mask of like the Roman cavalry mask. So he could be, that's why he's like Thrawn's number 1 guy. So maybe he is not dead, because he was talking about he
said he needs to use more of their dark magic.
Of their dark magic, and they were in the catacombs. He's already used some. Yeah. They were in the catacombs bringing up what apparently could be coffins of people that he wants to bring back from the dead.
Right.
Ryan Airy also said that Thrawn had a very Peter Pan vibe to it, with Thrawn being Captain Hook.
Yeah, a little bit.
Being the leader of the people in a faraway place, trying to get back home again. I was like, oh, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then we had the whole Sabine. Well, going backwards, when Sabine first, maybe this is when she gets released, but whatever. When Sabine gets released to go try and find Ezra, we've jumped all over the place because we already talked about her and Ezra being together, but who cares? When she first gets released, her and the wolf, dog, bat, frog thing, whatever it was, that
hybrid, whatever that thing is. I'm sure it has a name. I think it was called a howler.
Yes, it was called captions. A howler. But she, she first gets attacked by those guys with the red suits on, which kind of were like samurai type things. That was a really good fight. I did like that fight. Mm-hmm. It didn't feel what's the word when you're claustrophobic because they're on
in the volume. And now that you mention it, I'm specifically looking for these sorts of things too. And I even said like, no, this one looks all right.
Yeah, it looked all right. And it was fun. She was trying her Mandalorian ways first.
Still no freaking flamethrower.
No flamethrower.
Very disappointed.
Yes, because Mando himself has used his flamethrower at least 6 times on film. So she needs a flame. Maybe she doesn't have one.
Poor Mando form.
Yeah, very.
She didn't have those. She didn't have whistling birds.
No.
She didn't have a helmet anymore.
No
what
helmet.
What kind of Mando are you?
What kind of Mando doesn't even have a helmet? Yeah, so then after she starts to struggle a little bit, then she does pull out the old trusty lightsaber, which
she's okay with it.
Caught them off guard.
Yeah.
They were very like, oh, what is this? And I, the one, did you see the one where the guy shot like a blaster bolt at her and she blocked it and it ricocheted back into the other guy's face?
No.
Yeah, it hit the other guy right in the face, and then you see him in the background. He's like, like he's like crying in the background, like, oh, you hit me, you shot me in my face.
It really hurt.
It really hurt. So that was funny. And then, with her lightsaber, she's just cutting the gaffy sticks in half. And stuff,
it reminded me of
fun.
the scene in Robin Hood Men in Tights where they're dueling in the river. And they keep breaking the sticks, and then they wind up just smacking each other in the hands with them.
With the little itty bitty sticks, yeah. So she did handle that fight well, and then her wolf howler friend ran away.
Their interactions were very cute.
They were very cute, and then you
reminded me of Lester.
Yeah, totally, 100%. And then she like sits, and then he finally comes back, and he's like, "Okay, I was just thirsty.
Yeah,
I just needed something.
I just
to
had
drink.
to check over there for something. I'm back now, though.
Wanted to see if there's something over there. There
wasn't. Don't worry about it. We're good. We're safe.
Yeah, we're safe.
I saved the day. What were you? What have you been up to?
What have you been up to? Well, yeah, what, over
Everything's
there,
fine here. Situation normal.
Situation normal over here. Over there was fine. So, and
I
then,
can show you. Let's go see.
Look, see, there's nothing here. And then, I did love the turtle people, rock turtle.
I did not like them.
The hermit crabs. Kind of like a hermit crab.
So I distinctly call them grasshopper hermit crabs.
Okay.
The big hermit crab vibes. Their mouths freaked me out.
Okay.
I didn't like looking at them.
I understand. I can see that because
feels wrong to say, but I did not like them.
To me, they sounded a lot like the Jawas.
That's what Pagan said. She said, "Why do they sound like Jawas?"
Yeah.
But when you're that small, you're gonna have small vocal cords. You're gonna have kind of a high voice.
Sure.
There's kind of no avoiding that.
I love Sabine was funny because she's doing the same thing that everybody does when you're talking to somebody that doesn't speak your language.
Saying things slower and
louder.
louder.
Saying things slower and louder. Yes. A Jedi. Do you know Ezra?
Oh, and pointing helps.
And
too.
pointing definitely helps. Do you
not
Ezra?
add anything, just pointing?
No, just pointing. Just
it's like, point. Oh, you need this person who you met when you were a child, who you fought in wars with. I understand the point.
Yes. Now I get
point.
it.
That point.
But yeah, it was very funny to me that it was so like, I'll just say it slower and then you'll understand me.
But like you jest, but somehow it worked.
And then they're like, oh yeah,
like, Ezra, and they even said his name.
Yeah,
like Ezra Bridger.
Yeah,
we'll show you. We'll go to our big grasshopper trailer park.
Yeah, we go to our trailer park in the woods. So then the grasshoppers take her to the trailer park, and sure enough,
and there is hippie Ezra living in a trailer, shoeless. Like
listening to Fish.
Yeah, totally. He's like got Fish and The Dead on repeat. Him and the grasshopper people ripping bongs all day and for 15 years.
And he said, we don't stay in one place, so they're following the Dead to every single one.
Yeah, that's right. They're groupies.
They're following the Dead.
They're deadheads. Oh no! What happened?
There goes a chair.
That's all right. You managed to.
I saved it. Yeah, my cat-like reflexes. Jedi-like reflexes.
Yeah, I guess that's probably better than cat-like. What about like a Jedi cat? That's the best reflexes.
They are the best reflexes. Speaking of Jedi, how often do you think of the Roman Empire?
I saw someone ask this. Not as often as apparently other men.
Yeah, like apparently men think about it all the time. The one guy, I forget what his Instagram handle is. It's like cooking Star Wars cooking or cooking Jedi or something like that, whatever. But he obviously thought about this before answering it, but he said Roman Empire, never. Galactic Empire, all the time.
Yeah, I mean, for sure.
And I was like, I'm
That's
going to
the
use that
question,
one.
yeah.
That's the answer from now on.
Yep.
So they go back to the trailer park, and
I think it's cool. So this is not the same actor as Ezra in the movie or in the show, right?
no,
He's a completely different dude.
completely different dude.
But he's capturing it. He feels like Ezra.
he feels like Ezra.
Like the way he's talking and they're kind of interacting, it feels
Right.
like the same interactions.
He did. At first, I was like, he looks nothing like Ezra.
Yeah.
But then, if you go back and watch Rebels, or at least see a clip of when Ezra has that one picture with his mom and his dad,
Right.
he looks like Ezra's dad.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay. But the other thing that cracked me up was they aged up Ezra. Sabine looks the same. Hera looks the same. But Ezra looks...
Well, Sabine got a haircut. That implies age and time, passage of time.
Except she
Somehow.
got a haircut from episode 1 to episode 2. So,
Yeah.
but like
That's true.
you see
I
Sabine
forgot.
and you go, that's Sabine.
Yeah.
You see Hera, you go, that's Hera. You see Ezra, you go, who's that guy?
That's true. You're right.
Right?
I mean, so Ezra is a lot more generic looking than those other we listed, right? Like, there's no really, like, we've only really seen one Twi'lek with those clothes on, and that, like,
Right.
and then, like, you know, Sabine is like colorful hair. You know,
She's got the Mandalorian armor, so
yeah, and you know, she's played by an Asian girl, and that's how she was depicted. You know, like,
yeah.
but like Ezra was more of just kind of like a generic kid, and then they made him super generic by buzzing all his hair off.
I hated the
And he was
second
just-
haircut of Ezra. Yes.
And I was really hoping. I'm telling you, I'm gonna be so pissed if they give him a shave and a haircut for when he comes back to the new galaxy.
Oh, that would be amazing.
I
It'd
don't
make him
want
look
it.
so stupid
Oh, I mean,
again.
so I'm telling you, like you know, on the show, keep beards. Beards are good. I like
Beards are good.
And this beard helps him. He should not shave it. He's like, you know, you would think by now, 15 years of studying, he should be a Jedi Master by now, right?
He should be. He's been hanging out
You
there.
need a beard if
You
you're a
need a
Jedi
beard to be a
Master.
Jedi Master. All the best Jedi Masters have beards.
All the worst ones don't.
All the worst ones don't.
Yaddle.
Yep.
No beard on Yaddle.
What's Samuel L. Jackson? He didn't have a beard.
Mace Windu.
Mace
Look,
Windu.
He got killed like a punk.
He did. He
Arm chopped off and hurled out of like a 3,000th floor window.
Yeah. No beard. If he had a beard, he could have done.
Well,
he
I
could have
think
done
probably
things.
the electricity would have been absorbed by the beard.
by the
a little
yes.
better. And he
You
probably
heard
would
it
have
here
had-
first, folks.
Hey, I listened to a lot of podcasts with Neil deGrasse Tyson on it.
Okay.
So I'm basically an astrophysicist.
You are right about now. You're an astrophysicist.
Yeah.
So then we get to the
Hey,
trailer park.
Sorry,
people.
here's a fun fact I learned today from Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Okay.
So there are more water molecules in a glass of water than there are 20-ounce bottles of water to fill all the oceans. So because of the way that we filter water, and water is reused, we drink it, we excrete it, it is reused, and et cetera, et cetera. It is literally like a statistical fact that every drink of water you have
Okay.
has water in it that has passed through every living person who has ever lived. So, like, there are water molecules in every glass of water you drink
Right.
that, you know, Gandhi has also drank,
And
and Hitler has also drank, and Jesus has also drank.
Right.
Because the way it works
Right.
is, you know, we pee, we crap, whatever.
Sure.
All that liquid then is taken up into the air.
Yep.
It is then redistributed.
Redistributed, put into the oceans.
Yeah.
So I totally get that there's no new water. That makes sense to me. I totally understand that, and I agree with that 100%. The fact that everybody has drinking that water, I don't.
So it's about the individual water molecules.
Right.
Because there are so many molecules in a bottle, just one glass
Yeah.
of water, like statistically, one of those molecules, it doesn't mean like the water was, but like one of those molecules
Right.
in that glass of billions of molecules
Sure.
might have also been in a glass of water, or
In
was
Japan.
definitely
Yeah.
in a glass of water for every other person who has lived before.
Sure.
It's a weird statistic I learned today.
Yes.
I haven't. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't gone through and like done the math, so I don't want to be
Sure.
one of those people who's like,
No,
oh my God, did you hear this? It's a billion people in water, and that's. But yeah, anyway.
No, I
I
totally
tend to trust Neil deGrasse Tyson when he says.
I mean,
number of things.
look, he's a lot smarter than I am, so I shouldn't
Not
be.
me.
I shouldn't be.
I'm way smarter.
You're
than
way
him.
smarter than him.
I play saxophone.
Yes,
That's a very smart life decision.
I'm telling the kids, look, everybody makes mistakes. I became a teacher.
yeah, but we move on.
But we move on. The kids are like, huh?
Some of you will become teachers too, and you'll get that. Someday.
And you'll get that joke. You'll get that you made a mistake also. Anyway, who am I to argue with him? He has a couple more degrees than me and has been going to school for other
He
more.
has. I learned also 32 honorary degrees.
Yeah, but honorary degrees are just, hey, we want you to come speak at our college.
True.
We're going to give you an honorary doctorate.
Do you know who
degree.
Sean Hayes is?
Yeah,
From
Will and Grace. Yeah.
I was at Illinois State University the year they gave him an honorary doctorate.
Oh, did he
Because
speak
actually
at your
went to
graduation?
ISU. It wasn't my graduation, but because I was in the music department and in the band,
Okay.
I performed at all of the commencements.
Okay.
And so I performed at the commencement where he got his honorary doctorate at ISU.
Okay. Did you hear his speech?
Mhm. Yeah, I was on the stage. Like the band was on the stage behind the
We
dais.
should invite him onto. He's a huge Star Wars fan. We should invite him. Yeah, I mean, you guys are friends.
He does talk about the Mandalorian
Yeah.
on his podcast.
Yeah. On
Smartless.
Smartless. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you should hit him up.
That's my in.
Yeah. Be like, look, I
Hey,
was.
Sean Hayes.
Hey, Sean Hayes. We went to the same college.
Yes,
Be on my
yeah.
podcast.
We were within 20 feet of each other once.
Mm-hmm.
You should advertise me on Smartless.
Yeah. You should remember that.
Yeah.
So, that being said,
Ezra, beer,
Ezra
Sabine.
peed and
everyone drank.
his molecules. Yes.
That's I think where we've
I
rounded
think
out
that's
this
what we've come down
scene.
to. Yeah. So
And he does that great thing, by the way, where he's like, "It's great to see you. Life is great. I can't wait to go home.
I want to go home.
Womp womp.
Now that you're here, can you please take me home?
Pan Sabine looking into the camera like,
I would if I could get us out of here.
about that, brother.
About that. The Sabine storyline is like The Searchers, which was a Western. It's one person searching in the wild, wild West, and so it's very similar to that.
Wiki Wild Wild West. Jim West, Desperado, Rough Rider.
Yep.
You don't
And
want
then-
none.
And then the show ends with Thrawn and Morgan. They're talking to the witches about getting off of this planet and taking over the world, the galaxy, yada, 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 the
Yeah.
three witches. I did like the witches a lot. I did like Thrawn a lot.
Yeah, I like this. Again, this was the scene where he, like, you forget he's calculating, he plans for everything, he treats his people really well,
Yes.
but, like, he's ruthless.
Right.
To get what he needs. So, like, that was the most complicating thing about reading his books is you root for him.
Right.
Because he's like...
He's so well thought out and so
he does the
educated.
thing, right? Everything he does, like, it's military protocol. He's doing things for the betterment of his ship, his shipmates. Like, it's hard to not like him.
Right.
Until you see
Until you think
and
that,
you're like, these things, you know.
Oh,
So,
yes. He's doing this so that he can take over an entire planet and kill the population of that planet so that he can mine it for all that it's worth.
right. Because in his own way of thinking, he has calculated that is for the better good,
Yes.
and it will serve more people than it will hurt.
Right.
Which
To
makes it
them
twisted, and but again, it's consistent.
Yes.
He has a consistent moral code,
Yes.
whether it's twisted or not, it's consistent.
Yes. And for all the people who didn't watch the cartoons, you're going to find out a lot more about Thrawn and the way he does things. He studies your art, and he knows how you act and how you will fight in a war based off of your art.
Yeah, your people's
Your
art.
people's art.
And I love that they brought back the organ music.
Yep.
That was really cool. But it was like almost, it wasn't digital organ, but there was like a digital kind of vibe to it.
Mm-hmm.
It was clearly like mixed with some other sound to make it sound a little less churchy and a little more kind of, I don't know, like
Spooky.
steampunk almost.
Yeah.
Like, because it was like that retro sound, but like almost like with a modern twist to it. So.
Yeah. One more thing about art. I just read this today. There was I forget where he was. Darn it. But anyway, an artist was paid $67,000 to make 2 paintings that they were going to hang in this museum. This is a true story. So he gave them 2 blank canvases and told them the name of the canvases were Take the Money and Run. And he is now being sued, and a judge decided that it wasn't art, and he has to give back almost all the money.
Decided it wasn't art.
Yes. So now you have judges in this other country. This wasn't even America.
Okay, that's fine.
Like, I can see the Supreme Court going, this isn't art, because they say, women don't have the right to control their own body. So why not them also decide what is art?
Isn't Clarence Thomas's famous line like about pornography? You can't describe it, but I know it when you see it.
Right? And
That's
I'm sure
be,
he sees a lot of it.
And that's going to be their same argument for art. It's like, we can't describe it, but we know this isn't art. Screw you.
There's nothing on this canvas. This isn't art.
I would argue that what that person did is exactly art.
Yeah, 100%.
And that whatever that gallery was, they learned a lesson.
Because I mean, if you're gonna name it "Take the Money and Run," that's art to me. Like you thought, there's a painting in the Philadelphia Museum of Art. It's just like blue.
Yeah.
I'm like, so if he would have just painted one green and one with a dollar sign on it, that would have been okay.
No, it had to be all blue.
But it had to be all blue. Only blue can be art.
And specifically that blue.
That blue, yes, that blue was art. So anyway. So yeah, it was a great episode. Yes, I liked it a lot.
I mean, I don't think it's going to be very hard to topple episode 5 for me, but I don't think it's really about toppling other ones. But like, this one is my clear second place.
Yes.
For the season. Again, timing and pacing alone, just so much more dense action in the beginning of the episode. So much was happening. Short scene here, move on to this. Short thing here, we're introduced to Thrawn. We're introduced to Night Sisters. They're moving into this. It's like things are happening.
Yeah.
And they're not focusing on just like someone walking.
Right. The downfall for me now is going to be who to root for. Because you're going to want to root for Thrawn because he is so good and so not good, but so calculating good and so methodical and so whatever that you're going to, let's go Thrawn.
Yeah, I think they'll probably wind up weaving it in such a way that we're still going to be like, oh, yeah, that's twisted. We got to go with the good guys and stuff. But it does make it more complicated.
Yeah. And we also, I forgot, we saw the Chimera, his ship was.
Yes. And they had, like, the bottom was all painted out, just like they
it was in the end of Rebels. It was all painted out. And it was all damaged from
the fight.
From the octopus and the fight and everything.
Yeah,
you could see.
The space whale octopus.
Yeah, you could see crush parts of the ship, which I guess is why he can't get back because it's broken.
Well, also, that ship probably can't go cross galaxies. And
maybe he doesn't know how to get there.
I also thought it was a really cool way they docked it. Essentially, just kind of like
put the landing over top
right?
of it. Yeah.
Imagine just like seeing a city descend on you from above, like this giant wall, city-sized wall of like metal Durasteel. Just floating down over you.
Yep.
And all of a sudden just stops.
And it just sits, and it's just sitting there, casting a giant shadow down onto the ground. I do find it awesome that the ships in Star Wars can just float there without anything like, it defies all logic because...
Well, that's another reason why, that's another one of the things that people cite often when talking about how not science fiction it is.
Okay.
Because the technology they cite for that is repulsor lifts.
Okay.
There's no grounding in that ever being possible.
It being possible.
Yeah. Like the closest thing science fiction has ever really gotten to like Star Wars is what's the one with the Belters? And it's a TV show.
Okay.
That's gonna annoy the hell out of me. It's fairly recent. The Expanse.
Oh, never saw it.
So The Expanse is and there's books on it too. Pagan watched it. It's essentially like the future in our time, and like we have colonized Mars and other places and stuff, and like the asteroid belt is where like a lot of business is like the blue collar jobs in the solar system.
Okay.
So there are people who we've been out there so long. There are people who are born on the belt, and they're called belters. And there's all this talk about people like Mars going to war with Earth and stuff like that. And so like when there's like battles, number one, like said, all right, we're on our way. We'll be there in like 6 days.
Yeah.
Because like there's no like jumping into hyperspace.
Right.
And like when they're like they're not all, but like they're very close to like what the science would actually be in these scenarios. There's no like dog fights in space.
Okay. Yeah. And explosions because it can't happen.
That's not how it would actually work. Things are much slower.
Right.
But it's interesting. So I think you would like it.
Okay. I'll have to check it out. Don't forget to check out check out all the other Ears Up shows. Ears Up in Depth, Scraping the Vault, Supreme Resort, Puny Pod. Puny Pod got taken over this week by Dirty Yellow Strap. It's a Twitch stream of, I don't even know, Bob Chapek and somebody else, and they're just rambling on about stuff.
Huh.
It's 100% legitimately Bob Chapek and somebody else. It's not Eric and Dan making
Bob. Why wouldn't it be legitimately the billionaire?
Yes. So
Bob Chapek.
Right. So to check that out if you're into some interesting humor, then check out Dirty Yellow Strap on Puny Pod this month.
I would not, if I were you. You can check it out. I would be very careful when you Google Dirty Yellow Strap.
Yeah, don't do that.
Be very careful.
So do you know what the reference is to? Probably not, because you haven't been to Disney in a long time. But when you get into the cars, because it's fast. Like when you get into Indiana Jones or Dinosaur, which is the same ride, or any other one that's not like a roller coaster where you have the shoulder harnesses coming down, you put your seatbelt on, and built into the handle of the seatbelt or into the clip of the seatbelt is this other little yellow strap.
Okay.
And when you buckle yourself in, then the cast members all say, okay, now pull on the yellow strap, please. But from having thousands of people pulling on the yellow strap, it's no longer yellow. They're nasty, and they're dirty yellow. So that's where they get the dirty yellow strap from, which is pretty funny. I like it a lot.
It's less obscene than I was expecting.
Yes. It's not not anything else other than it's a Disney parks reference.
It's a dirty yellow strap, not a dirty yellow strap.
Right.
On next week's episode.
Anyway.
Yeah. So check out all our buddies. Make sure you're watching Ahsoka. Mm-hmm. Rejoin us next week when we continue the tale of maybe Ahsoka.
Maybe.
We'll see if she gets
I'm sure she'll be in, because the whales will finally get there.
Yeah, that's probably what'll happen. But yeah, that's all we got for you.
That's all
I'm going to finish my Red Bull. Rob is just about done with his beer.
A little bit of Dirt Wolf left
Dirt
for me.
Wolfing it up. And in the meantime, we here at Bantha Milk Podcast headquarters have spoken.
We have spoken.
We have, don't you know?